منصور صاحب دكتور منصور أمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، ومن اهتدى بهديه ومن سار إلى منوال منهجه إلى يوم القيامة. أما بعد، أيها الأعزاء والأساتذة والفضلاء ومحبي اللغة العربية وآدابها والطلبة الأحبة، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. نحن نتشرف بحضور الأستاذ الدكتور عيسى علي علي. هو سيلتقي أمامنا الموضوع حول Artificial Intelligence in Translation Potentials and Boundaries. إن شاء الله نحن ندور إلى هذا الموضوع منه، ومع ذلك نحن في نهاية مطاف هذه الدورة، يعني القمة اللغة العربية. قد بدأت هذه القمة منذ 14 سبتمبر، ومع ذلك إن شاء الله ننتهي هذه القمة بحضرة ومحاضرة الأستاذ الدكتور عيسى علي. في أنه سيلقي أمامنا مادة مهمة التي تكون مفيدة ومستفيدة لنا. بدون شك نحن نؤمن أن هذا الموضوع موضوع خاص وموضوع مهتم في عصر الأكاديمية. نحن كلنا في هذا المجموع نشتغل في مجال الأكاديمية. في هذه الأكاديمية نحن لا نتوالي مسيرة الأكاديمية بدون الترجمة والذكاء الاصطناعي. الأستاذ سوف سوف يدرس ويستفسر علينا عن آفاق الذكاء الاصطناعي وترجمة. ولتفضل بكل ترحيب أرحب الأستاذ دكتور عيسى علي علي لهذه المحاضرة القيمة. أرجو كل المشاركين إلى هذه الجلسة العلمية. تفضل مشكورا يا أستاذي الحبيب دكتور عيسى علي لقيادة هذه المحاضرة. مع السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله. هل تسمعونني؟
نعم واضح مسموع يا أستاذ.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين محمد بن عبد الله الصادق الأمين، ثم أما بعد. لا أدري هل تريدوني أن أتحدث باللغة العربية أم باللغة الإنجليزية؟ دكتور فردوس، أنا لا أسمعك. هل أتحدث باللغة العربية أم باللغة الإنجليزية أم بكليهما؟
أوكي لا مشكلة لي يا أستاذ. both language في
طيب
اللغتين، في اللغة العربية والإنجليزية.
جيد.
تفضل يا أستاذ.
في البداية يطيب لي أن أتقدم بخالص الشكر والتقدير للدكتور سابق على هذه الدعوة الكريمة لكي أدردش معكم قليلا وأشارككم بعض المفاهيم والأفكار التي تجول في خاطري، والتي آه، ستتطرق أو ستركز على موضوع مهم في هذه الأيام. وأود أن أشكر أيضا المنظمين الذين نظموا هذا البرنامج أو هذه القمة. كما أود أن أشكر الدكتور فردوس على هذه البداية الطيبة، وأشكر وأرحب بالحاضرين جميعا. وأود وأسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن تكون هذه الجلسة مثمرة ومفيدة للجميع. طيب، I would like to share my PPT. Is it possible to allow me to do so? Can you see my screen, please?
Yeah, just showing it now.
Now you can see the first slide, right?
Yeah, sure, it's okay.
Is
It's fine.
Is it moving smoothly? Now I am moving to the third slide. Can you see that?
Yeah, sure. It's clear.
It's
moving, yeah.
moving. It's moving.
Yeah, sure. Okay, fine.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Actually, today we're going to talk about artificial intelligence in translation, potentials and boundaries. And here we have a subtitle here: what AI does well, where it fails, and why humans still matter. So we would like to touch upon different points. Due to or because of the time constraint, we will not talk about each and everything in detail. But of course, we will try to touch upon important points and important concepts that can be important for our discussion. So here we have the themes, or those are the points that I'm going to talk about, starting with the introduction, moving to brief history of automated translation, potentials of AI in translation, boundaries and issues of AI in translation. Will AI replace human translators? Which is a very important question for us. We need to get an answer for this question. We need to answer it, right? So let's start with the introduction. This we have here. What is AI? As far as you know, AI is the simulation of human intelligence by machines. AI systems learn from massive amounts of data, that is, large language models, right? So like ChatGPT, it's a large language model. Those systems, AI systems, identify patterns and make decisions. Why this topic now? Why is it important? Why is this topic important? Why do we need to talk about it? Because AI translation is prevalent, common in study, work, and daily life. People use AI tools for translation in different domains, in different fields, right? Are interested to use AI to get things translated, to get sentences translated, to get text translated, and etc. LLMs, that means large language models like ChatGPT, boosted quality beyond classic MT in many tasks. Here we have a very important point. What is the difference between AI and MT? That means machine translation tool, huh? So what is the difference? The difference is that a machine translation or a translation system is dedicated for translation, not for any other purposes, right? But AI is dedicated for many tasks: interaction, translation, summarizing, generation, content generation, etc. Now you can see the difference, right? So we have an advancement, of course. Now those AI tools, they have shown a good performance. However, risks remain, such as context loss, tone errors, legal and ethical issues. We will discuss those points. Then we will see how we can justify or argue. Remember, the question here is not whether AI is good or bad. No, we're not talking about that because this is not a fair discussion. The question is, when do we need to use AI and when do we need to approach professional or human translators? Here we have to have a good decision. We need to have a good decision. Should I approach AI to translate for me, or I must approach a human translator? You got the point. It's not about is it good or bad. We know that each technology has its own advantages and disadvantages, its own pros and cons. Okay, so we have some issues regarding context loss, tone errors, legal and ethical issues. So the goal of this talk is to make smart and situational choices. Should I go for AI to translate for me? Should I look for a human translator to do this for me? We need to know this. Let me give you a brief history of automated translation. Actually, there is an involvement of machine or automated translation. We started with something called rule-based machine translation. Depending on those systems depend on linguistic rules and bilingual dictionaries. After that, we moved to statistical machine translation. Those systems or those tools, let's say SMT tools or systems, depend on corpora, bilingual corpora, corpus, right? Then from 2014 onwards, we have got something called NMT, Neural Machine Translation, Here, the system or the systems here depend on they depend on artificial neural networks. You know, it's about deep learning. Then now we have, you know, since 2022, the end of 2022, we have got something called ChatGPT and AI tools that can be used for translations in present and future. So this is the overall shift from rules to data-driven to neural to large language models. That means AI is here, large language models, because AI employs or needs a huge amount of data. Let's start with the potentials of AI in translation. As I told you, كما قلت لكم في البداية، لا يمكن لنا أن نقول بأن أو نناقش فكرة هل الذكاء الاصطناعي جيد أم سيء. لا جدوى من هذا السؤال، ولا جدوى من النقاش أو المناقشة أو التحدث حول هذا الموضوع. لماذا؟ لأن لكل تقنية ولكل شيء تم اختراعه هناك له إيجابيات وله سلبيات. فدعونا نتكلم عن الإيجابيات أو الأشياء التي يمكن للذكاء الاصطناعي أن يقوم بها أثناء الترجمة أو في ميدان الترجمة. Core potentials. Number one, speed and scalability. What does it mean? That means AI tools can translate thousands of words instantly. I hope it is clear. Remember, yes, speed is important. When we talk about translation, of course, we need to talk about translation speed, which is really important. Because clients, if you have a translation center, clients will come to you and they will request you to finish translating their documents fast. They cannot wait for you for ages. No, you need to do it as fast as possible. So AI tools can translate fast, yes. In terms of speed, yes, that's great. But we don't need to ignore the other side. This is only one side, translation speed. We still have another side, which is called translation quality, which is very important. We cannot sacrifice translation quality because of translation speed. This is not good. It's like, you know, you sacrifice the soul of the whole matter. Translation quality is very important. That's why when we train our students, we say, hey, students, take care of two things, translation quality and translation speed. So we have a question mark here. Okay, AI tools are very fast. They can translate thousands. Number two, 24/7 availability. Always on across devices. This is an advantage. 3, cost-effective, free or low cost compared to human translators. Of course, we as clients look for cheap prices, right? Again, if you get it translated through an AI tool or system, you will pay money. For example, if you get the paid version, what about the quality? What about the legal issues? What about the accountability? Huh? What about the certification? What about the stamp? What about the seal? Those are questions that we need to answer. So Number 4, handles multiple languages, of course. Wide coverage, even rare ones. Human translators have a limited capacity. A person can speak or know 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 languages, right? So you cannot compete AI in this point. Then we have terminology consistency. Remember, I'm not talking about output consistency, because when we come to the output consistency, there is a big question mark. Here I'm talking about terminology consistency. Same terminology across large projects, especially if we have technical terms. You will have terminology consistency. Let's go to added benefits. Drafting aid provides first versions to polish. Learning tool helps language learners test and compare outputs. Accessibility breaks language barriers for travel, emergency, and communication. Flexibility, not tiring, can handle repetitive and mechanical text. Of course, those are positives. Those are the advantages. When we want to evaluate something, we need to look at it from all the corners, all the angles. We need to get the full picture of it. Then we need to decide, should I use it in this situation or not? We cannot say AI is bad or AI is good. No, your answer or our answer will never be complete if it is like this. So let's go to the boundaries. Core boundaries, loss of meaning. It struggles with context-dependent phrases. If you look at a linguistic phenomenon called ellipsis. Ellipsis means omission. When you say something, then you drop some phrases that could be a nominal ellipsis, a verbal ellipsis, or a clausal ellipsis. You drop an element or elements because that is understood from the context. Like when you say, I teach mathematics, but you chemistry. You didn't say, but you teach chemistry. You have a drop teach. Here we have ellipsis. Here, the meaning depends on the context. It's a context-bound structure. AI tools struggle a lot to manage this. Then we have something interesting here. Let's imagine that you have a document of, let's imagine that you teach students, translation students, you are a professor of translation studies, and you have given your students a text of 10 sentences, and it's an exam, it's a test, 10 sentences, and this exam carries 10 marks. Your students translated 9 sentences correctly, but 1 wrongly. How many marks will you give your students? You will give 9 out of 10, right? This is because you are training your students. But let's imagine, on the other hand, let's imagine that you have a translation center. A client came to you with a document of 100 pages. You translated 90 pages correctly, but 10 pages wrongly. Will your clients tolerate that? No, your translation is rejected. Do not tell me, oh, I have translated 90 pages correctly, only 10 pages are translated wrongly. No, clients will never accept that from you. We do that only when we teach our students because we train them. We need them to gain the skills. The same thing now, when you give a text to ChatGPT or to AI, and you get a translation or a good translation for most of the text. But there are some other issues in terms of culture, context, ambiguity, etc. So that is not accepted. I'm sorry. If you have a medical report and you give it to ChatGPT, it translates all correctly except one point, which is very serious. Will you accept that? No. I think you will never accept it from either a human translator or a machine translator, right? This is a very important point that we need to pay attention to. Lack of coherence, inconsistent style in long text and specialized terminology. This is an issue. Syntax errors and natural or incorrect structures. Complex grammar can lead to errors in sentence structure. Cultural blindness. AI misses small differences, cultural nuances, metaphors, which is really, those things are very important. We human translators deal with such things carefully because culture is involved. We need to know the culture of the source and the culture of the target. So I can say that AI works best with simple literal content, but context and style still expose weaknesses. Now let's talk about the serious issues. Let's say the serious boundaries or issues. Sarcasm and irony. We human translators struggle a lot to manage this, especially if we don't know the target culture very well. If the source language is your mother tongue, so you will struggle a lot sometimes if you don't understand, if you don't know the culture, the target culture very well. Sarcasm and irony, often misunderstood. Ambiguity. Ambiguity when a term has more than one meaning, like polysemy and homonymy. When it comes to literature, when it comes to stories, novels, poetry, it's challenging. Can you give معلقة امرئ القيس to ChatGPT كيف نبكي من ذكرى حبيب ومنزلي بسقط اللوى بين الدخول فحوملي وليل كموج البحر أرقى سدوله علي بأنواع الهموم ليبتلي and etc. Will you give this one to ChatGPT to translate it for you? Just think about it. So multiple meanings are lost in one choice. No, that's why we say translation is a matter of problem solving and decision making. Problem solving in the source because you have linguistic, stylistic, and cultural problems. Then you try to make your mind. When you translate in the target, you will have options, choices. Should I choose this structure or that structure? Should I go for this term or that term? Should I go for this style or that style? Should I go for this idiom or that idiom? It's about decision making. So idioms and proverbs. We consider idioms and proverbs as complex data. Complex data, it's not easy for AI to manage that. Sometimes we get a literal translation, not figurative. This is a very serious matter. Numbering, just let me give you an example, which is about numbering. In English, we say 2 birds worth one, 2 birds in hand worth one on the bush. In Arabic, we say عصفور في اليد خير من 10 على الشجرة. So 2 in English becomes 10 عشرة in Arabic. This is how we need to deal with text. We need to understand what is used in the target language. So we say here, AI does not understand, it predicts. That's why sarcasm, ambiguity, and theory-driven tasks are unsafe. Let me talk about theory. Here we have frameworks and theories. AI cannot follow scopus theory, functionalist, or stylistic approaches. You know, in translation studies, we have different stages. I'm talking about translation, the stages of translation theory, starting with equivalence, moving to functional, and etc. So functional translation, which means you need to translate according to your receivers, the target audience, the culture of the target audience, the background of the target audience. You need to choose the right word, the right concepts, the right phrases, the right idioms. It's functional. Will AI be able to follow a certain theory, a certain translation theory? I don't believe. I don't think so. Then, dealing with dialects, that is also another challenge. Can AI deal with dialects? How many dialects do we have in Arabic? We have a lot. We Arab people cannot understand each other well if we use our own dialects. We need to shift to the standard Arabic so we can communicate well. What about AI? Does it or will it understand those dialects, Malayalam dialects, Arabic dialects? I doubt it. Then inconsistency. This is a very important point, dear all. Inconsistency in the output. This is a very serious problem. Variability, uncertainty. You find that there is a problem of uncertainty. ChatGPT gives you something today, tomorrow it gives you something else. Or at the same time, you tell ChatGPT, no, you are wrong. The answer is so and so. Then it automatically tells you, absolutely, you're absolutely right, even if you are not right. So uncertainty. Uncertainty is very important. If there is no uncertainty, that means there is no reliability. Output. I'm talking about translation outputs. I and my colleagues have conducted a study on this, and we found a variability in the AI translation outputs for the same input under the same conditions. That means the same prompt and the same input. Just say, this is a very serious matter. So we need to, here we have a question mark, a big question mark. This is very serious. If a medical doctor who deals with a patient is not certain, not consistent in his evaluation and assessment, will this patient trust this doctor? I don't think so. Consistency is important. Certainty is very important. So making things up and hallucinations. This is a very serious matter. So AI does not, okay, let's go to another point. Zero shot versus few shot. Do you know that when it comes to large language models, we have something called zero shot and few shot. Zero shot learning means the model, that means large language model, performs a task without seeing any examples of it during training or prompting. Just you give instructions, do so and so, which is very challenging. Did you notice that? If you ask ChatGPT to do something or to translate something new or to ask about a new point, it struggles. If it is available there on the net, it's easy for AI to bring it to you. Understand? So it relies on general language understanding plus instructions there under zero shot. Few shot learning, the model is given a handful of examples in the prompt to guide its behavior. It helps it adapt to the style, format, and special context. What does it mean? It means that if you have a structure that contains ellipses, we talked about ellipses. Ellipses means al-hadf. If you give it to AI, then you say, just translate this into Arabic. This is your prompt. Then you get the translation. If you do it in a different way, that means you say, translate this sentence into Arabic, and remember that we have an ellipsis case here. This is an ellipsis case. I need you to translate or to manage ellipses. For example, so and so. Which translation will be better? Of course, the second one. So this is a challenge. Now, we have here literalism, cultural mismatch, misinterpretation of tone, and academic inaccuracy. So we can say, we have a question here, which is very important. Will AI ever replace human translators? Or is the partnership model more realistic? Just think of this question. Just think of it. Many people ask this question. Not only asking, many people believe in that. They say AI will replace human translators. I don't think so, honestly. So think of this question and let's see. This is the big question. Now we have, will AI replace human translators? We need to get an answer for this question. At least we need to have an attempt to answer it. If we don't get a genuine answer, we need to have an attempt to have an answer. So is it about competing or complementing? What do you think? I think it's about complementing. Those tools assist human beings, help human beings. They have been invented to assist, not to replace. So the big question is, AI, that is the big question. Now, AI shows unprecedented speed and access. Of course, we talked about this. AI can perform basic and repetitive tasks well. Human translators ensure quality, nuance, and responsibility. Future lies in collaboration, not replacement. This is my argument. It is about collaboration, not replacement. So we have here AI versus human. I can say here a myth versus reality. What is the myth? That people believe that AI will do everything, will replace the human beings. I don't think so. Let's go to my argument here. So arguments for AI replacement, speed and scalability. That's what people say. Millions of words instantly. They translate millions of words instantly. Global reach. It supports 100+ languages. Low cost, free or cheap tools. Constant learning, updates improve output. By the way, people look at these factors and they believe that these factors will enable AI to take over completely. They have, I'm sorry. They have looked at the picture only from one side, not from both sides. Now, arguments for human necessity, context and nuance, idioms, sarcasm, tone, cultural sensitivity, adapting for audience, market, etc. Specialization, legal, medical, literary text require, so legal, medical, literary texts require expertise. Accountability, which is very important. Certified responsibility in contracts, courts, academia. Now, if you have a contract or an international treaty, will you approach AI to translate it for you? I don't think so. You need a certified human translator, right? This is the point. Also, the responsibility. If there is a human translator, a certified human translator, so there is an accountability. If there is a mistake in the translation, you know whom you will blame. But if it is done by AI, whom will you blame? What will you blame? What will you do if there is a serious issue? So irreplaceable human qualities, judgment, accountability, and ethical reasoning. So the question is, here is what we need to ask, or how we need to ask. When should we use AI? When must we rely on humans? That's what we need to say. This is the heart of our discussion. Not whether AI is good or bad, but when it is appropriate and when it is risky. Next, I will show you a framework with two clear paths, one for AI and one for human translators. Then let's see whether my argument is valid or not. The first path, or let's say streamline A, easy context. That is what? Easy context, that means assimilation. Translation for personal use. Casual communication, travel, chats, emails, that's okay. When you travel to a foreign country where there is no common language between you and the locals, you try to use an AI tool to help you in terms of translation. That is not a serious issue. That is only for personal use. Assimilation. You need just to communicate. Chats, emails. Number 2, educational support, drafts, language practice, etc. Repetitive tasks, manuals. If you buy a product and there is a manual, there is a product which has a manual and you need just to understand what is in the manual. Okay, approach AI. That's not a problem. Personal use. Surveys, instructions, etc. Large-scale projects where just is enough. Just you need to get the gist. You don't want to get all the details. You don't want just to get the gist. So what is the goal here in this path? Understand, assimilate information quickly and cheaply. Yeah, here it's okay. Now people look at this path and they are already here. They are already doing this. And they think that that's everything. This is the full picture. No. Let's go to streamline B. That means the second path. Serious context. Dissemination. Dissemination here. Translation for wider audiences. not for personal use. Legal. If there is a legal text, if there is a medical text, medical report, technical contracts, treaties, agreements, etc. Will you approach AI or a certified human translator? Literary and cultural texts, novels, poetry, films, as we mentioned earlier. Political, religious, or sensitive content. Will you approach an AI? This is not for personal use. Diplomas, certificates, court papers, etc. So just think of this. Is it possible to trust AI to do it for you? It's risky. So what is the goal here? In this path, publish or share, disseminate with accuracy, nuance, and accountability. Accountability is very important. Who is in charge? Who is responsible for this translation? So assimilation is about personal understanding here. AI works well. When it comes to assimilation, it works well. It helps. It's very good. It's a very good assistant. How about dissemination? It is about sharing with others. Here, precision and cultural sensitivity demand human translators. This distinction is critical in deciding when AI is acceptable, when it is not. I hope my argument is clear. So we have here current reality, certified translators, legal recognition. Do we have or will we have a certified AI tools for translation? This is a question. Courts, ministries, embassies accept human sign translators. If you have a paper or a document that needs to be translated and submitted to an embassy, will you do it through AI and submit it? No. The embassy will tell you, we need a certified translator. We need a stamp. By the way, even if the certified translator himself uses AI, but the stamp is needed. Why is it needed? Because of accountability. It's a legal matter. If there is any matter, if there is any problem, if there is an issue, so you know whom you blame. So will regulations evolve to include AI plus human co-certification? Let's see. I don't think so. Let's see. The risk of liability, mistranslation in legal context can cost contracts, court cases, or compliance. So let's move on to this one. Of course, just 5 minutes, then when intervention is essential. Human translators ensure contextual accuracy, ensure stylistic appropriateness and functional adequacy, understand tone, idioms, and cultural references, adapt content for purpose and audience, human roles, pre-editing, post-editing, and quality assurance. What do you mean by pre-editing? I think it's clear. Before you put a text into a machine, you need to pre-edit it. You remove unnecessary things, you correct mistakes. So you help the machine to get a good translation. So human factor is needed. Even if there is an advancement, human factor is needed. In the medicine or in the medical field nowadays, we have a lot of technologies. If you have a blood test, there is a machine that can do it, but we need to have a technician behind that machine. The human factor, which is very important. Gender and register control, decision-making in ambiguous and sensitive content. When human intervention is essential, creative text, ads, literature, speeches, sensitive content, legal, medical, etc. localization and cultural nuance, ambiguous or polysemous phrases. So let's compare between AI. It's a very brief comparison between AI and human translators. Speed and cost, AI wins. Nuance and style, humans win. Language coverage, AI wide, humans selective. Creativity, humans win. Accountability and ethics, humans only. Scalability versus quality, trade-off. Will you sacrifice quality for speed? I don't think so. This is a very big question. Thank you so much for listening. And please, if you have any question, just ask. And sorry for taking too much time. Hello.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Your nice presentation, actually, which got us much knowledge in the field of translation, which you mentioned before us now. So this is time for discussion for making the session vibrant and more effective for us, because an eminent faculty members from Al Sahar University, Dr. Isa Ali is with us. So utilize this opportunity. Audience, please.
السلام عليكم سيدي. مع الأسف أنا انضممت إلى هذه الجلسة متأخرا، ولذلك لم أستطيع أن أسمعك، ومعذرة لك. ولكن أود أن أشاهد هذه الجلسة مسجلة على يوتيوب. كما هذه الجلسة المسجلة سيتم رفعها على يوتيوب، فإن رفع أو خطر ببالي أي سؤال فكيف أنا أتصل بك؟ فلذلك أرجو منك رقم هاتفك لكي يتصل بك لاحقا وأرسل إليك.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. حياكم الله أخي الكريم. أتشرف بوجودك معنا، وبعد أن تشاهد هذه الجلسة إن كانت لديك أسئلة فأرجو التواصل مع الدكتور سابق أو الدكتور فردوس، وهم سيوصلون هذه الأسئلة إلي. بارك الله فيكم.
شكرا جزيلا سيدي.
عفوا.
Audience can unmute and raise your queries and questions and توضيح والاستفسارات والتساؤلات. أرجو منكم.
സംശയമുണ്ടോ? എനിക്ക് മലയാളം സംസാരിക്കുന്നു.
Okay.
മലയാളം, ഇംഗ്ലീഷ്, അറബിക് കുഴപ്പമില്ല.
അയ്യോ തമാം ഇൻഷാ അല്ലാഹ്. മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കാം.
കിട്ടിയോ? സംശയമില്ല. Do we have any questions in the chat box?
Yes. I think your class
نعم.
is very clear, sir. No one have any doubts because it's a very
أوكي.
clear. That means
الحمد
really
لله.
very. So anyone any comments? Dr. Mansoor sir is here and our beloved principal is also.
السلام
Okay.
عليكم ورحمة الله.
Walaikum assalam.
هل صوتي واضح؟ معذرة إليكم عن هذا التأخر في السؤال، كنت منشغلا بعض الشيء لكنني كنت أستمع إليكم الحمد لله. دكتور عيسى، شكرا جزيلا لكم على إلقاء هذه المحاضرة الجميلة الماتعة، تبارك الله فيك ونفع بك. لدي سؤال باختصار، هو يعني كيف نستطيع جمع المهارتين، يعني الإتقان في استخدام الذكاء الاصطناعي للترجمة المتقنة وبين إتقان بشري للترجمة، يعني كيف نستطيع دمج الترجمتين؟ هل هناك يعني مثلا خطة أو خطوة نسلكها ونختارها لتكون ترجمتنا جامعة الإتقانين، الذكاء الاصطناعي والبشري معا؟ أرجو أن
نعم.
السؤال واضح إن شاء الله.
أولا وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته، حياكم الله أخي محمد، وشكرا على هذا السؤال. في الحقيقة نحن دائما نقول لطلابنا طلاب الترجمة استخدموا الذكاء الاصطناعي في الترجمة، لا بأس في ذلك، ولكن لا بد أن تعرفوا كيف تستخدموا أو كيف تستخدمون هذا، كيف تستخدمون الذكاء الاصطناعي في الترجمة. بمعنى ماذا؟ إن كان مستوى المترجم أقل من مستوى الذكاء الاصطناعي، فكيف لهذا المترجم البشري أن يكتشف أخطاء وعيوب الذكاء الاصطناعي في الترجمة؟ فهذه مشكلة. نحن دائما نقول لا بد أن يكون مستوى المترجم البشري مساويا أو أفضل من مستوى الذكاء الاصطناعي، بحيث يمكنه هذا أو تمكنه هذه المعرفة من اكتشاف الأخطاء والتحديات ومعالجتها. إذن إن كان مستوى المترجم جيدا فإنه سيستعين بالذكاء الاصطناعي وسيكتشف الأخطاء ويحددها ويعالجها، وبهذه الطريقة نكون قد حصلنا على نص استخدم أو ترجم عن طريق الذكاء الاصطناعي ثم روجع عن طريق المترجم البشري. إذا نحن جمعنا بين الاثنين، بين المترجم الآلي وبين المترجم البشري بهذه الطريقة. لماذا؟ لأن فاقد الشيء لا يعطيه. إن كان مستوى المترجم أقل في الترجمة، أتكلم عن الترجمة، أقل من مستوى الذكاء الاصطناعي في الترجمة، فلا يمكن له أن يحدد نقاط الضعف والمشاكل والتحديات أو المشاكل اللغوية والسياقية والمشاكل الأسلوبية والثقافية وما إلى ذلك. إذن فاقد الشيء لا يعطيه، وستكون الحصيلة ماذا؟ بأن هذه الترجمة ترجمة الذكاء الاصطناعي تمام بشكل كامل، وهذه مشكلة كبيرة. أرجو أني أجبت على سؤالك.
شكرا جزيلا لك. نعم، الإجابة واضحة دكتور. لدي سؤال آخر بعد إذنكم إن شاء الله.
تفضل.
طيب، برأيكم ما هو الذكاء الاصطناعي حاليا هو الأقرب إلى ترجمة النصوص الطبية وما إلى ذلك مما ذكرته أنت إلى الصواب، يعني حتى نستخدمه من البداية لنكون قريبين جدا من ترجمة الذكاء الاصطناعي الصحيحة، حتى نطور من أنفسنا ونخطو خطوات حتى نكون متقنين كذلك.
نعم أخي محمد، الموضوع ليس بهذا، يعني من وجهة نظري بأن السؤال هذا ربما يصاغ بطريقة أخرى. لا نستطيع أن نقول بأن هذا التطبيق هو أفضل تطبيق ولا بد أن تعتمدوا عليه، لا. لكل تطبيق مزايا وإيجابيات وسلبيات. تمام. مثلا تجد بعض الناس أو بعض المترجمين يرتاحون إلى تشات جي بي تي المدفوع. تمام.
نعم.
تجد البعض يقول لك لا أنا أترجم عن طريق كول بوت. تعرف كول بوت؟
لا أعرفه
فهذه
معذرة.
هذه هي تفضيلات شخصية، ولكل أداة من هذه الأدوات إيجابياتها وسلبياتها.
نعم واضح. جزاكم الله خيرا أستاذ، لقد استمتعت
حياك
حقا جدا بهذه المحاضرة الجميلة، ما شاء الله. بارك الله فيكم ونفع بكم، وكرر
وفيكم يا
الله
رب
زيارتكم إن شاء الله، وأتمنى زيارتك القريبة لديارنا الهند إن شاء الله.
إن شاء الله تعالى. بارك الله فيك.
آمين يا رب، وشكرا جزيلا لك.
سيدي لو سمحت، فأريد أن أضيف بعض الكلام
تفضل.
في السؤال السابق من جانب أستاذ محمد ثاقب النضبي، أن هناك بعض المقالات على المواقع مختلفة، الجزيرة وبي بي سي، فهناك تتواجد مقالة وترجمتها أيضا موجودة على الموقع، بعض المقالات المتخصصة ومعينة، فنستطيع أن نختارها لترجمتنا لتطوير مهارتنا في ترجمته. كما مثلا اخترنا مقالة باللغة العربية، وبعد ذلك وضعتها في تطبيق الذكاء الاصطناعي كشات جي بي تي، وهو أي أعطتنا النتيجة، وبعد ذلك نقارن بين الترجمة من جانب الذكاء الاصطناعي والمقالة المترجمة التي موجودة على الموقع. فعلى هذا الطريق أظن
طيب، شكرا
نستطيع.
جزيلا لك، شكرا جزيلا أخي سوراب. أستاذ دكتور عيسى، معذرة إليكم، خطر ببالي سؤال جديد، هو الطلب أصلا هو هل يمكن لحضرتكم أن تتفضلوا بمشاركة هذه الشرائح حتى نستفيد منها؟
أخي محمد، طبعا الفيديو موجود كما قلتم، أليس كذلك؟
بلى بلى هو كذلك.
نعم. إذا فهذه الشرائح موجودة في الفيديو.
لو تفضل حضرتكم بمشاركة هذه الشرائح في مجموعة العيون مثلا، لسهل علينا الاستفادة منه، وأما المقطع فطويل وما إلى ذلك.
هذا لم أفهم قصدك.
بمشاركتكم إن شاء الله ستكون الاستفادة من الشرائح أسهل
إن شاء الله.
مقارنة بمشاهدة المقطع.
إن شاء
المقطع
الله.
طويل ونحن نحتاج إلى الوقف والتشغيل والإيقاف وما إلى ذلك.
إن شاء الله.
معذرة إلى هذا التوضيح.
إن شاء الله.
इसी बुखार है ना, इसी डॉक्टर जी का सुना ये पैर मुड़ी है, मुझ पे ही नहीं, कुछ ड्रिप लगी नहीं सी, फिर दसी थे मुड़ी ਜਾਂਦੀ ਨੇ।
Ustad,
हाँ
you can conclude the session. Okay, I think was raised the queries. So inshallah, let's
स्कूल ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਸੇ
be
स्कूल ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ छोटे
thanks to Dr.
पागल
from the
अजय ऐसी बात
Afro.
हमारी नहीं सोशल वेलफेयर में पागल सी जिसी ने बेन नहीं देता सारा दिन चैन चैन चाहिए पानी में नहीं पीन देता
Some
4-5
and
चैप्टर आए ना सेल्फ डिफेंस आनंद के अपने आप
Department of Arabic.
मैडम सी आई निगराटे वाली
Sallam. Actually, we
बस
organized this, which scheduled
खाना ही है ना घर में खाने रहे हैं
12
जो हॉस्पिटल की खिलाई हो
to
बच्चों
19 of September 2025. The last session was led by
يرجى
Professor.
إيقاف هذا اللقط من سيادتكم إن شاء الله. يرجى إيقاف هذا اللقط من سيادتكم إن شاء
फिर बंदा जैसा बोल रहे हैं
So thanks to all participants, and here we have an official vote of thanks by
हाईवे वाले से
Mr.
ना
Zakaria, the Finance Research Forum in Islamabad College. So I invite Mr. Zakaria to
खाने में कुछ
express.
है मैंने कुछ दसिया है वार्डन में हाँ खाने में कुछ है मैंने खाना तो बहुत अच्छा है वो एक्सरसाइज कर करके इनको कुछ हुआ है
صوتي مسموع يا أستاذ؟
डर गया था कि खाना ठीक है बहुत जगह जा रहा है
صوتي مسموع؟
सही वाल फिर से अभी से आपको दौड़ना है
بسم الله
सब
الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله والصلاة
Excuse me.
والسلام على رسول الله.
Excuse me.
कोई पूरी नहीं आनी
Actually, Dr. Firdaus.
और मैम हाजिरी लगा के जा रही हूँ मैं
Dr.
क्योंकि जा रही हूँ
Firdaus.
ये किसी साहब के मेहमान है हमारे नहीं हम
Hello.
सिर्फ केयर रात के लिए बस
Mr. Zakaria.
Yeah.
You need to mute this one, Vivo V2130, because she's speaking and she doesn't know that her mic is on.
सारी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इकट्ठी है
نعم
فاضل صار
يرجى
فاضل صار please
Yeah, please. She doesn't know that it is unmute, so mute it.
إن شاء الله يرجى إيقاف اللقط. جزاكم الله خيرا. ودكتور معذرة إليكم عن هذا الإزعاج.
فاضل صار please mute the mic. Someone is talking. Okay. صوتي مسموع؟
Okay.
بسم الله.
نعم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. ضيفنا الكريم الدكتور عيسى محمد علي الأستاذ المساعد في اللغويات ودراسات الترجمة بجامعة صحار بسلطنة عمان، ورئيس الجلسة الدكتور فردوس رئيس قسم اللغة العربية، وعميد كلية أميس الدكتور سابق، وسيد فاضل بن فيصل مدير أكاديمية العيون، وسعادة الأساتذة والدكاترة والباحثين والأكاديميين والطلاب الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. نحن اليوم في ختام الجلسة الأخيرة من النسخة الرابعة من قمة اللغة العربية التي نظمتها أكاديمية العيون وكلية أميس منبات بالتعاون مع قسم اللغة العربية بجامعة كاليكوت وكلية السلم السلام العربية. يسعدني ويشرفني أن ألقي كلمة الشكر والتقدير في اليوم الأخير من قمة اللغة العربية العظيمة التي امتدت ل6 أيام. حقا يمكننا القول إن هذه القمة قد فتحت آفاقا جديدة أمام الباحثين وطلاب اللغة العربية والمهتمين بشؤون اللغة العربية والترجمة خاصة في عصر الذكاء الاصطناعي. أولا لا أريد أن أطيل كلامي وأنتقل مباشرا إلى كلمة الشكر. أولا أتوجه بجزيل الشكر والعرفان والامتنان لضيفنا الكريم الدكتور عيسى محمد علي الأستاذ المساعد في اللغويات ودراسات الترجمة بجامعة صحار. كانت محاضرته حول الذكاء الاصطناعي في الترجمة الإمكانيات والحدود. كانت محاضرته مليئة بالرؤى القيمة وأوضح لنا مشكلات الترجمة بأدوات الذكاء الاصطناعي. حقا كانت محاضرتك قيمة يا أستاذ. شكرا لك دكتور على مشاركتنا بمعرفتك الثرية.
ثانيا أود أن أعبر خالص الشكر والتقدير لمنظمي هذه القمة المرموقة الأستاذ فاضل بن فيصل مدير أكاديمية العيون، والدكتور فردوس مون رئيس قسم اللغة العربية بكلية أميس منباد، وقسم اللغة العربية بجامعة كاليكوت، وكلية سلم السلام العربية. شكرا لكم على استضافة هذه القمة المتميزة. أشكركم جدا لجهودكم الكبيرة. كما أتوجه جزيل الشكر إلى جميع الخبراء والمتخصصين الذين شاركونا في هذه الفعالية، وإلى جميع الحضور والمشاركين من داخل الهند وخارجها. شكرا لكم على مشاركة خبراتكم وتوجيهاتكم القيمة. لقد كانت إسهاماتكم إضافة نوعية لهذه القمة. شكرا لكم جميعا على إسهامكم خلال هذه القمة ناجحة بامتياز. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام
وعليكم
ورحمة الله.
السلام ورحمة الله
أستاذي
وبركاته.
متى سنحصل على الشهادة وكيفية؟
إن شاء الله بوقت ممكن توصل الشهادة إلى بريد إلكتروني إن شاء الله.
شكرا جزيلا سيدي.
شكرا لكم كلكم يا طلبة يا عارف. السلام عليكم.
नहीं चली थी चली इंग्लिश की प्रोफेसर नवी आई है ना, दोस्त नहीं था वार्डन देखिए नहीं पता
है